Hello everyone, very good morning to all and welcome to session 3 chemical bonding and water technology. In our last two sessions we discussed about what is crystal field theory and how it is useful to understand the structure and bonding involved in various metal complexes like octahedral metal complexes and tetrahedral metal complexes, and we have also seen the splitting of d orbitals in the case of octahedral and in the case of tetrahedral, and what is the CFSE value, how to calculate CFSE values for octahedral complexes, various octahedral complexes and tetrahedral complexes and all those things. So today in this session I am going to discuss about what are the limitations of crystal field theory, and then after that we will discuss about what is multi-orbital theory, how it is overcome all the limitations of crystal field theory, and we can see how to construct the molecular orbital energy level diagrams of O2 molecule and CO molecule by using multi-orbital theory like that. So this is our today's session: limitations of crystal field theory, introduction to multi-orbital theory, and construction of MO energy level diagram of O2 molecule. That means molecular orbital energy level diagram of O2 molecule. Similarly, construction of molecular orbital energy level diagram of CO molecule. Okay, so let us start today's session. So limitations of crystal field theory. So basically crystal field theory focuses on during the metal ligand bond formation or metal complex formation, always there is a splitting of d orbitals. So the splitting of d orbitals results solely because of the electrostatic effect. That means crystal field theory assumes that the bond between the metal and ligand is purely ionic in nature, and that is mainly because of the electrostatic attractions exist between the metal d orbitals and ligand orbitals. So according to crystal field theory, the bond between metal and ligand is purely ionic in nature. There is no covalent character in that particular bond. Let us assume that this is the metal ligand bond. So according to CFT theory, this bond actually ionic in nature. But some of the experimental evidences are semi-theoretical evidences showing that actually the metal ligand bond is somewhat covalent in nature. According to the experimental results or some theoretical approaches, this bond actually having some covalent character also. So what is the meaning of covalent character or covalent bonding? So covalent bonding means always there is two atoms, each atom sharing one electron in this manner. So later these two electrons actually equally belongs to either A and B also. So like that there is a covalent bond formation. But according to CFT theory, the metal ligand bond is purely ionic in nature. Like for example, we assumed metal actually positive charge spaces like this and ligand actually negative charge spaces like this. Between them there is a electrostatic interactions only. So like that crystal field theory assumes that the bond between metal and ligand is purely ionic in nature. But the experimental evidence showing that so metal ligand bond already having some amount of covalent nature also. So that means the main assumption of the CFT theory actually not correct. So according to crystal field theory, the metal ligand bond is purely ionic in nature. That is completely not correct. So metal ligand bond also having some kind of covalent character. So that is one of the limitation. And coming to second one, and the indirect evidence from electronic spectra. If you see electronic spectra of various metal complexes, so from those complexes we can understand that there is a cloud expansion, and that actually indicates that the electrons between the metal and ligand, the electrons available between the metal and ligand actually shared between the metal atom as well as ligand atom. So these electrons actually shared between the metal as well as ligand. So that is also nothing but actually covalent character only. So indirect evidence of electrostatic spectra complex shows that bonding electrons in metal ligand bond are shared between the ligands and centimetal ion. So like these electrons, what are the electrons available here? So these two electrons actually equally somewhat shared between the metal atom as well as ligand atom. So that is nothing but actually covalent character, and that is actually because of one of the important effect, Navier-Stokes effect like this. So we will see what is Navier-Stokes effect here. For example, so according to CFT theory, so this is a metal atom and this is the approaching ligand. Whenever this ligand making bond with this metal atom, there is electrostatic repulsions between the metal d orbitals and ligand orbitals. So it is something like this. So CFT theory assuming in this manner. So whenever metal ligand bond forming like this, so this bond actually ionic in nature. But in the reality, if you see the situation, it is something like this. Whenever metal ligand bond is forming, there is expansion of metal d orbitals. The cloud of the metal d orbital actually expanding. So due to this expansion, whatever the electrons available here, they have less repulsion, they are actually equally shared between the metal and ligand orbitals. So let us see something like this. You see like this. So whenever ligand approaching, the cloud of the metal d orbital actually expanding. Yes or not? You can see here. Slowly the cloud actually expanding like this man. So now here there is a lot of space is available, and in that space electrons are freely moving, and those electrons are actually equally shared between the metal atom and ligand actually. So this effect actually called anaplastic effect, cloud expansion effect. Anaplastic means actually cloud expanding process property. So like this, whenever there is a metal ligand bond is forming, there is the expansion of metal d orbitals in this manner. So due to this expansion, there is a maximum overlap between the metal d orbitals and ligand orbitals. Therefore, the shared electrons between these two are actually belongs to both metal atoms as well as ligand orbitals. So you can see here also. So this is actually in the absence of anaplastic effect, there is no cloud expansion process. So CFT theory assuming in this manner, but in reality there is a anaplastic effect. Due to that effect, there is a cloud expansion process. Therefore, because of that one, metal ligand bond actually having some amount of covalent character. And due to this particular effect, what will happen? So these are two situations. In the absence of anaplastic effect, in the presence of anaplastic effect, what will happen? In the absence of anaplastic effect, there is no cloud expansion like this. CFT assuming in this manner, but because of this one, whenever, for example, in the case of octahedral complexes, like this. So center metal atom actually surrounded by 6 number of ligands, and each ligand approaching in this manner. And due to that particular ligand field, there is a splitting of Dr plus in this manner. So there is a formation of T2G orbitals and there is a formation of EG orbitals. And this is the energy gap between the T2G and EG orbitals according to crystal field theory. And in the absence of anaplastic effect. But whenever there is a cloud expansion process also going on, so like this, due to this cloud expansion process, so what will happen? So these orbitals are actually little bit stabilized. So the metal d orbital little bit stabilized. Therefore, in this case, if you see the splitting pattern, it is something like this. When compared to the splitting in the absence of anaplastic effect, but in the presence of anaplastic effect, the energy gap between the T2G orbitals, EG orbitals actually decreasing. So due to this reason, so this whenever if you send and light toward the metal complex, it is absorbing different wavelength. Actually, we are expecting some other wavelength because the higher energy gap is there, but here actually it is absorbing lower energy only. So that is mainly because of the cloud expansion effect in the case of metal complexes. All these electronic spectra, that means due to the absorption of light, so the electrons are actually available here. So these electrons are actually moving to the higher energy levels because of absorption of radiation. So that particular absorption spectra showing that, so there is a cloud expansion process in the case of metal complexes. And due to this cloud expansion process, the bond between the metal and ligand is somewhat actually having covalent character only. So this is one of the indirect evidence. And coming to the third point, so it is found that electron repulsions in the complex somewhat less than that of the free ion. So here I am trying to show you the two different situations. So this is the metal ion, free metal ion. So free metal ion actually contains 5 different d orbitals. All d orbitals actually having same amount of energy. So in the case of free metal ion, we have a 5 different d orbitals like this. All these d orbitals actually having same energy only. Let us say this is actually dxy, dyz, dxz, y square z square. All these d orbitals actually having same amount of energy, and so in this case I am representing only two d orbitals. One is actually dx square minus y square and another actually dxy like this. So let us assume that two electrons are available among these 5 d orbitals. Just assume that two electrons are available among these 5 d orbitals. One of the electron available in dx square minus y square orbital and another electron available in dxy orbital. Okay, in this manner. So this is the first electron available in dx square minus y orbital, and this is the another electron available in dxy orbital. So since all these d orbitals actually having same amount of energy, they are very close to each other. Between these two we have a maximum repulsions. Higher repulsions exist between the d electrons in the case of free metal ion. But whenever the complex is forming, that means ligands are approaching toward the metal ion, then there is a formation of metal ligand bond. Whenever the complex is forming, what will happen? There is a cloud expansion effect, and electrons actually shade between the ligand orbitals also. What are the free electrons are available? So these two electrons also shade with the ligand orbitals in this manner. For example, you see, so one of the electrons available here and another electron actually here. So like this, these two electrons actually having the maximum distance in the case of metal ligand bond. So in the case of metal ligand bond, the electrons available in metal ion are actually having less repulsions because of the overlapping between the metal d orbitals. So overlapping metal d orbitals, let us say this is metal atom and ligand orbitals like this. So maximum overlapping possible in the case of metal ligand bond formation. Therefore, the electrons exist between the metal orbitals are actually shared between the metal and ligands in this manner. Therefore, automatically the repulsions existing between them actually decreasing in the case of metal complex. Okay. So like this is also one of the evidence. So this evidence also clearly indicating that metal ligand bond actually having some amount of covalent character only. So it is not purely like an ionic bond. Like CFT theory assumes that is actually purely ionic in nature. But in reality, the metal ligand bond also having some amount of covalent character because of the cloud expansion process, anaphylactic effect, or because of the overlapping of dr plus with the ligand orbitals in this manner. Okay. Next point. So even EPS spectra. So electron paramagnetic resonance spectra. So the magnetic spectra of the various metal complex always shows actually hyperfine splitting pattern like this. Hyperfine splitting pattern like this. Like this. So this is also one of the indirect evidence. So it shows that this hyperfine splitting actually possible when only metal orbitals and ligand orbitals overlapping each other, and the metal ligand bond is covalent in nature only. So if it is the ionic bond, we cannot get this kind of hyperfine spectrum like this. So that it is mainly because of the metal ligand bond actually having some amount of covalent nature only. So additional evidence shows that covalence in metal ligand bonds provided by EPS spectra of various metal complexes. It shows actually hyperfine splitting pattern. It shows actually hyperfine splitting pattern in this manner. So this hyperfine splitting pattern actually possible once metal ligand bond actually having some amount of covalent nature only. So that means all these things clearly indicates that the metal ligand bond actually having some amount of covalent nature only. But according to CFT theory, we assume that the metal ligand bond is completely ionic in nature. So that assumption actually completely wrong. So, and in addition to that, CFT theory considers splitting of d orbitals during the metal ligand bond. That is okay. Okay. But CFT theory does not consider the participation of s and p orbitals during the metal ligand bond formation. Yes or not? So always we are bothering about only d orbitals only. What about s orbitals or p orbitals? So these two are actually not included in this case. So CFT theory does not consider the s and p orbitals during the metal ligand bond formation. At the same time, CFT does not consider the ligand orbitals during the metal ligand bond formation. So it is also not considering from the ligand side. So ligands also having some orbital, so p orbitals or molecular orbitals. So those are actually not included in the bond formation case. So these are some of the limitations of the CFT theory. So in order to overcome all these things, we have to go through the multi-orbital theory. So where you can able to explain the ligand participation, s orbital participation, p orbital participation, and multi-orbital theory actually proving that so metal ligand bond actually having some amount of covalent nature. So let us see what is multi-orbital theory and what is the importance of multi-orbital theory. So multi-orbital theory actually one of the advanced theory. So by using theory, we can able to explain the bonding involved in various molecules like simple molecules like diatomic molecules, heterodiatomic molecules, homodiatomic molecules, or various covalent molecules, and it is also applicable to complex molecules like coordination compounds, etc. So according to multi-orbital theory, there is a formation of new type of orbitals. Those are actually called molecular orbitals. So for example, here you can see these are the shapes of some of the molecular orbitals. So this is actually CO2 molecule. So this is one of the bonding molecular orbital, and this is actually anti-bonding molecular orbital. Like this, there is a formation of new type of orbitals in the case of molecules. Whenever two atoms are combining each other, there is a formation of molecular orbitals. So this theory actually initially proposed by 4 different scientists like this: Friedrich Hund, Robert S. Mulliken, John C. Slater, John Lennard Jones. So in 1933, after the invention of valency bond theory by Linus Pauling in 1931. So valency bond theory actually follows actually hybridization concepts. Hybridization concept, but multi-orbital theory actually is a little bit different from the hybridization concept. So according to hybridization concept, whenever there is a molecule formation, each atom undergoes hybridization process. So hybridization means formation of new hybrid orbital by mixing due to the mixing of different atomic orbitals of one of the atom. For example, let us say this is the atom A. So this atom A actually having s orbital, p orbitals, or d orbitals like this. Whenever this atom undergoes some bond formation with another atom, all these orbitals, s orbitals, p orbitals, d orbitals undergoes different types of hybridization process depending upon the type of molecule, like sp hybridization, or sp2 hybridization, or sp3 hybridization, or sp3d2 hybridization, or something like that. So depending upon the type of molecule, so atomic orbitals, atoms actually undergoes different types of hybridization process like this: sp hybridization, or sp2 hybridization, or sp3 or sp3d2 hybridization in the case of metal complexes. But this multi-orbital theory is completely different from that process. So we will see what is the multi-orbital theory. And this valency bond theory as well as this multi-orbital theory, both are actually quantum mechanical approaches, theoretical approaches. So that is the reason this is also known as LCAO approximation method. So this multi-orbital theory was actually developed by following one of the quantum mechanical approach that is actually called variation method. So this is actually developed by using quantum mechanical calculations. So quantum mechanics is actually one of the theoretical evidence for the already existing experimentally proved results actually. So by using quantum mechanical theory, we can able to explain what is the main reason for the if any atom or molecule change some particular property. Like for example, in the case of metal complexes, we found that metal ligand bond actually covalent in nature. How to prove that? So we have to develop some theories like this by using some of the mathematical calculations. We have to generate some of the equations, and from those equations we can able to say what is the reason for each and every point. So it is purely quantum mechanical approach. That means that it actually involves various calculations. So differential calculations, and finally we have some final equations. If you solve that equation, we can able to get the various information about the corresponding atom, corresponding molecule, all those things. So this MO theory, multi-orbital theory, actually derived from the variation method. This is one of the method involved in the quantum mechanical calculations. It is one of the approximation method, and this is also known actually linear combination of atomic orbitals. So according to multi-orbital theory, whenever there is a molecule formation between A and B, for example, let us say A is one of the atom and B is the another atom. So now there is a formation of AB molecule like this. Whenever molecule is forming in this manner, so the atomic orbitals available in each orbital from the A side, from the B side, all together actually undergoes linear combination process. The atomic orbitals involved in A as well as in the case of B, all together actually undergoes linear combination process, and that linear combination actually generating new type of orbitals, those are actually called molecular orbitals. So let us see how it is possible. For example, so these are the shapes of the different types of orbitals, and this is the s orbital, spherical in shape, p orbital, dumbbell in shape, and d orbital is actually having double dumbbell in shape like this. But how to define these shapes? So these shapes are actually generated by using quantum mechanical calculations only. So according to quantum mechanical calculations, each orbital actually having their own wave function. Each orbital actually having their own wave function. So wave function is nothing but actually one of the mathematical equation. It is nothing but actually mathematical equation. So by using that mathematical equation, we can able to say what is the shape of the particular orbital, whether that is a spherical in shape or dumbbell in shape or double dumbbell in shape like that. We can able to calculate the energy of the each and every orbital. So like that, each and every orbital having their own wave function. For example, so psi s is the wave function for the s orbital, and psi p is the wave function of the p orbital, and psi d is the wave function of d orbital. So for example, in this case we have a psi p x and psi p y and psi p z like that. Each orbital actually having their own wave function. So by this wave function is nothing but actually one of the mathematical equation. So by using this equation, we can able to predict the shape of the shape of the corresponding orbital, the energy of the corresponding orbital, everything. So quantum mechanics always depends on some other wave functions like this. So in this method, so we are actually considering the wave function of the each and every orbitals available in the given atom. So this is one of the point we have to remember. So like this, s orbital actually having psi s wave function, p orbital actually having psi p wave function, and d orbital is actually having psi d wave function in this manner. So whenever if these orbitals combining undergoes linear combination, so then we have to combine the s orbital wave function, p orbital wave function as well as d orbital wave function in this manner. That is actually a linear combination. So how this linear combination actually possible? That we will see. So according to molecular orbital theory, the individual atomic orbitals of atoms in a molecule, individual atomic orbitals of all atoms in a molecule. For example, in our case, let us simple example, AB atom, AB molecule is there. So that means we have A atom and B atom. So this A atom contains some s orbitals, some p orbitals or some d orbitals. Similarly, this B atom also contains some s orbitals, some p orbitals and some d orbitals. Like this, each atom actually having corresponding atomic orbitals in this manner. So according to molecular orbital theory, individual atomic orbitals of each atom in a molecule, this is our molecule, this is our molecule. In a molecule combines to form molecular orbitals. They actually come, that means these atomic orbitals and these atomic orbitals actually undergoes linear combination. And due to that linear combination process, there is a formation of new type of orbitals, those are actually called molecular orbitals. And these molecular orbitals are actually belongs to entire molecule. For example, these are the sp-d orbitals available in only A atom, and these are the sp-d orbitals available only in the B atom. That means these three orbitals belongs to only A atom, and these three orbitals belongs to only B atom. But whenever molecular orbitals are formed something like this, this is the one of the molecular orbital, and this is also one of the molecular orbital. But this molecular orbital actually belongs to entire molecule. This is not belongs to only A atom or only B atom. So you can see here. So inside there is a molecule. So this is the molecule. This is nothing but actually C double bond of molecule like this. This is the molecule, and this is the molecular orbital. This actually belongs to entire molecule, not belongs to only carbon or only oxygen. Even in this case also. So this is also CO2 molecule like this. But this entire orbital actually belongs to the entire molecule actually. This molecular orbital actually belongs to entire molecule. Like this. So due to the linear combination of atomic orbitals available in a given molecule, there is a formation of molecular orbitals, and those are actually delocalized over the entire molecule, and that molecular orbital actually delocalized from the entire molecule in this manner. So like this, according to linear combination of atomic orbitals, or because of or according to molecular orbital theory, whenever there is a molecule formation, in that molecule we have a different number of atoms, like 2 atoms or 3 atoms or 4 atoms. So in case of AB type, we have only 2 atoms. In case of AB2 type, how many atoms are there? 2 B atoms, 1 A atom. Or in case of AX2, Y2, in this case, how many atoms are there? 1, 2, 2. Total 5 atoms are there. Like that, whenever if there is any molecule formation, the atoms available in that particular molecule, and each atom consists their own atomic orbitals. Whenever there is a molecule formation, all these atomic orbitals from A side, from B side, or from X side, or from Y side, all these atomic orbitals undergoes linear combination process. That linear combination process generating new type of orbitals, and those are actually called molecular orbitals like this. Okay. So now we will see how these molecular orbitals are actually forming if 2 atoms are combined each other. So according to molecular orbital theory, molecular orbitals theory uses linear combination of atomic orbitals, that already we mentioned. So MO theory uses linear combination of atomic orbitals, and to represent molecular orbitals resulting from bonds between atoms. In order to explain the bond formation in a given molecule, MO theory uses linear combination of atomic orbitals, that is actually called LCAO approximation method. This is actually called LCAO approximation method. So as per the LCAO approximation method, the formation of molecular orbitals because of the linear combination of atomic orbitals. Like linear combination actually 2 different types, either addition combination or subtraction combination. So addition combination produces one type of molecular orbitals, and subtraction combination actually produces another type of combination. So as per this method, the formation of molecular orbitals is because of linear combination of atomic orbitals which combine to form molecule. So this combination actually 2 different types, either addition or subtraction process. So addition process produces one type of molecular orbitals, and subtraction actually produces another type of molecular orbital. So let us see how it is possible. For example, so as I said in the earlier, this is purely quantum mechanical approach. Always we have to use the wave function of the each and every atom. So in this case, this is one of the atom A, and this is actually atom B. Now there is a bond formation between these 2 atoms. A actually combines with B. So here I am representing, here psi A represents the wave function of the atom A, and psi B represents the wave function of the atom B. So according to linear combination atomic orbitals, what is the method? Either addition process or subtraction process. So linear combination means that is actually combination of wave functions, linear combination of wave functions, that is actually either addition or subtraction process. So that addition process produces one type of molecular orbital. MO means molecular orbital, and psi MO actually wave function of the newly formed molecular orbital. And subtraction process also produces another type of molecular orbital. So this is the general notation. So this is the general representation of the formation of molecular orbital. So formation of molecular orbital actually possible because of the addition process or subtraction process of the various wave functions of the corresponding atoms or orbitals. So let us the formation of AB kind of molecule in this manner. So whenever this A atom combines with B atom in order to form AB molecule, so according to molecular orbital theory, there is a formation of corresponding different types of molecular orbitals. So for let us say first addition combination. So due to the addition combination, there is a formation of, because of addition combination, there is a formation of bonding molecular orbital. Whenever 2 atoms are combined like this, if there is an addition process, addition linear combination, so that addition linear combination always produces bonding molecular orbital. Always these orbitals, these molecular orbital actually having lower energy when compared to the energy of the corresponding atomic orbitals. So for example, this is the energy, this is the level of the energy of these 2 atoms. energy of the each atomic orbital. But whenever these two are combining each other, there is a formation of new type of orbital. You see, this is the new orbital. So new orbital that is actually belongs to entire molecule. This new orbital actually belongs to entire molecule in this manner, and this is actually addition combination. So this addition combination always produces bonding molecular orbital in this manner. So that is always having lower energy when compared to the energy of the corresponding atomic orbitals. In a similar fashion, whenever these two undergo subtraction linear combination, so like this, psi A minus psi B combination. In this combination, there is a formation of another molecular orbital that is actually called anti-bonding molecular orbital, ABMO, anti-bonding molecular orbital, and this is the psi function for the corresponding orbital, and you can represent the anti-bonding orbital in this manner. So anti-bonding means, so in this case, this is not the bonding situation. So this is actually bonding situation, constructive interference, it always produces lower energy molecular orbital like this. But this is actually destructive interference. So in this case, there is no bond formation, but it will produce this orbital also. This is actually called nodal plane. So one node actually available in this manner. So this is actually higher energy bonding molecular orbital. This is actually lower energy bonding molecular orbital. So like this, whenever two different atoms are same, two atoms are combined like this, if two atoms undergoes linear combination process, either addition or subtraction process, always we will get two molecular orbitals. One is actually bonding molecular orbital and other one actually anti-bonding molecular orbital. So like this, if two atomic orbitals undergoes linear combination, that always produces one bonding molecular orbital, one anti-bonding molecular orbital in this manner. So like this, according to LCO approximation method or according to molecular orbital theory, whenever there is a molecule formation, so in that molecule, each and every atom having some atomic orbitals, and all those atomic orbitals actually combines each other and forming the corresponding bonding molecular orbitals and some anti-bonding molecular orbitals. Always bonding molecular orbitals actually having lower energy when compared to the anti-bonding molecular orbitals. Okay, so let us see the formation of one simplest example. So let us assume this is the energy of the atom A. So this is the energy of the atom A. Similarly, we have another atom. This is actually energy of the atom B. So both are actually having same amount of energy. That's the reason I represent like this. And now these two atoms are combined each other, and they will form corresponding bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital. So, and these are the psi functions of the atom A and atom B. So psi A represents atom A and psi B represents atom B. Now this psi A and psi B undergoes linear combination. One is actually addition combination, other one actually subtraction combination. And due to the addition combination, always there is a formation of bonding molecular orbital. So let us say, so these are the, this line actually indicates the energy of the individual atomic orbitals. So this line actually indicating that this is the energy of the individual atomic orbitals. In this case, both are actually having same amount of energy. So whenever these two psi functions combines each other or undergoes linear combination process, so because of the addition linear combination process, always there is a formation of bonding molecular orbital like this. So this bonding molecular orbital actually having lower energy when compared to corresponding atomic orbitals. Whenever these two atomic orbitals combines each other, the corresponding molecular orbital actually having lower energy like this. And this is mainly because of the constructive interference. These two lobes are actually overlapping maximum amount. So for example, let us say this is the lobe of the A atom and this is the lobe of the B atom. So they are actually combining in this manner. So there is a maximum overlapping, positive overlapping. This is positive, this is also positive, like this. So this due to the constructive interference like this, always there is a formation of bonding molecular orbital in this manner. And if these two psi functions undergo subtraction addition linear combination, psi A minus psi B combination. So this is actually representing, this is actually forming actually another type of molecular orbital. This is actually called anti-bonding molecular orbital in this manner, and always it is possible because of the destructive interference only. Always it is positive because of the destructive interference. That means maybe, so this positive lobe interacting with negative lobe. So they cannot combine each other. Always there is a formation of a node between them only. So like this, due to destructive interference, always there is a formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital in this manner. And this anti-bonding molecular orbital always having a higher energy when compared to corresponding atomic orbital's energy. So these are actually anti-bonding molecular orbital, these are actually bonding molecular orbitals. Okay. And if you see the energies of actually, always bonding molecular orbitals, lowering of energy always negative in nature. So always if you calculate energy of this function, this particular orbital, that is always actually negative in nature when compared to the atomic orbital's energy. Whereas anti-bonding orbitals, always anti-bonding orbitals actually having rise in energy always positive in nature. So if you calculate the energy of this particular orbital, that is always positive in nature. So if more energy is there means highly unstable. If lower energy is there means that is actually more stable. So that means whenever molecule is forming in this manner, AB molecule in this manner or any molecule in this manner, always there is a formation of bonding molecular orbitals and there is a formation of anti-bonding molecular orbitals. So and this is the, like in this manner we have to construct the MO energy level diagram. So now we will see some of the examples for the how to construct the MO energy level diagram of various molecules. Then we will get some idea actually. So first we will try with the simplest molecule, hydrogen molecule. For the hydrogen molecule, how to consider the corresponding molecular orbital energy level diagram. So in case hydrogen molecule, what are the atoms we have? We have hydrogen atom. So what is the electronic configuration of hydrogen atom? This is actually 1s, 1 only. Similarly, we have another hydrogen atom also in case of H2 molecule, and this is also having 1s1 like this, electronic configuration like this. That means hydrogen atom contains 1s atomic orbital, and that 1s atomic orbital actually having 1 unpaired electron like this. Similarly, the second hydrogen atom also having 1s orbital, and that 1s orbital actually contains 1 electron like this. So now we will write the MO energy level diagram of H2 molecule. So first we have to consider the atomic orbitals. So this is the energy of the 1s orbital of first hydrogen atom. This is the first hydrogen atom. So this 1s orbital actually having 1 unpaired electron like this. This is the unpaired electron like this. Okay. And similarly, we have a second hydrogen atom also. The second hydrogen atom also having 1s atomic orbital like this. And in this case, both atoms are actually same. This is actually a homodiatomic molecule. Homo means we have a same type of atoms only. So same, if you, whenever you are using same type of orbitals, same type of atoms, always the corresponding atomic orbitals also having same amount of energy only. So therefore, so other side we have actually another 1s orbital like this. This is actually another hydrogen atom, and even this 1s orbital contains 1 unpaired electron in this manner. So both are actually having same amount of energy. Okay, now this 1s atomic orbital combines with another 1s atomic orbital whenever this hydrogen molecule is forming. This 1s atomic orbital combines with another 1s atomic orbital whenever hydrogen molecule is forming. So in the case of hydrogen molecule, always there is a linear combination process. Here we have a 1s atomic orbital from this side and another 1s atomic orbital from this side. So these two 1s atomic orbitals actually combines each other. There is a formation of corresponding molecular orbital and formation of corresponding anti-bonding molecular orbital. So because of the addition combination, if 1s combines with another 1s, due to addition combination, there is a formation of sigma 1s like this. So the sigma 1s actually representing bonding molecular orbital in case of H2. So this is sigma 1s formed in the case of H2 molecule. Similarly, there is a formation of another one that is actually called anti-bonding molecular orbital. Here that is represented by using sigma star. Sigma star actually indicates that there is actually anti-bonding state, and sigma star 1s also. So according to molecular orbital theory, whenever two 1s atomic orbitals combines each other in this manner, there is a formation of sigma 1s like this and sigma star 1s like this. So now each atomic orbital actually contains one unpaired electron. Now whenever molecule is forming, so these two electrons, this electron as well as this electron, these two electrons actually occupies the lower energy bonding orbitals only. So once all these bonding orbitals are completely filled, then only the remaining electron goes to the anti-bonding state only. Here we have only two electrons, and this molecular orbital can accommodate with two electrons in this manner. So like this, these two atomic individual electrons available in the atomic orbitals now enters into the bonding molecular orbital formed in the case of H2 molecule like this. Now these actually more stabilized one, and we have actually 0 electrons in the case of sigma star level. So like this, in the case of 1s atomic H2 molecule, so there is a formation of molecular orbitals like this. But if you see the energy of these two molecular orbitals, which one is lower energy? So this is actually having lower energy, and this orbital contains actually 2 electrons. And this is actually another atomic molecular orbital, but here we have a 0 number of electrons. So in this case, how to represent the electronic configuration of molecular orbitals formed in this case? So in case of H2, if you want to write the electronic configuration of molecular orbitals, it is something like this. What is the lower energy orbital? Sigma 1s, and the sigma 1s orbital contains 2 electrons like this, 2 electrons, and we have another one that is actually anti-bonding orbital, that is sigma star 1s, sigma star 1s. Here we have a 0 electrons. So always sigma 1s is actually representing the bonding orbital, that is lower in energy, and sigma star actually indicating that is actually anti-bonding state, that is actually higher in energy in this case. So from this diagram we can also predict the what is the magnetic nature of H2 molecule, whether this H2 molecule is paramagnetic in nature or diamagnetic in nature. So whenever if any molecule having some number of unpaired electrons, then that is actually called paramagnetic in nature, that is actually available paramagnetic in nature. But if you see the electrons available in newly formed molecular orbitals, if you see the electrons available in newly formed molecular orbitals, in this case the bonding molecular orbitals actually having 2 paired electrons. There is no unpaired electrons available in these newly formed molecular orbitals, either in the case of bonding or in the case of anti-bonding. So we don't have any unpaired electrons. So we have only one pair of electrons like this. That means it is clearly indicating that. So from this diagram we can also predict the what is the magnetic nature of H2 molecule. So H2 molecule actually having diamagnetic in nature. So this is actually diamagnetic in nature because we don't have any unpaired electrons in the case of newly found molecular orbitals. And we can also predict the what is the bond strength. Bond strength means whether this molecule actually having single bond or double bond or triple bond like this. We can able to predict the bond strength by using M1s level diagram. So how it is possible? So we can predict bond strength by calculating the bond order value from the M1 level diagram. So from this M1 level diagram, we can able to calculate bond order value. So how to calculate bond order value means? So bond order. So BO means bond order value is equal to half into the number of electrons available in bonding orbitals. Number of electrons available in bonding molecular orbitals minus number of electrons in anti-bonding molecular orbitals. So by using this formula, we can able to calculate bond order value for the given molecule. So for example, in this case, half into number of electrons available in bonding orbitals. Number of electrons available in bonding orbitals. How many electrons are available? Only 2 electrons are available. That means 2 minus the number of electrons available in anti-bonding state, anti-bonding level. How many electrons are there? 0. So that means 0. Like this. Therefore, if we calculate this value, this is actually 2 by 2, that is actually 1. So bond order value 1 means, so in H2 molecule, between the hydrogen atom, two hydrogen atoms, we have a single bond only. So always there is a single bond only. If the bond order value is 2, that means double bond exists between the two atomic orbitals, two atoms actually. If bond order value is 3, 3 bonds are actually available in a given molecule. So like that, based on the bond order value, we can able to predict the what is the bond strength of the in the particular molecule. So like this, always we have to construct the molecular orbital energy level diagram. This is actually called MO. MO means molecular orbital energy level diagram. So in this case, we are actually considering the corresponding energies only, atomic orbital energy and corresponding molecular orbitals or antibonding molecular orbital energies only. This is actually energy level diagram. Always we have to construct MO energy level diagram only. So once we construct MO energy level diagram of any molecule, so from that from this diagram we can able to predict so many things like this. We can able to predict the magnetic nature, whether that is actually having a diamagnetic nature or paramagnetic nature. Or we can able to calculate the bond strength value also, whether that is actually having single bond, double bond or triple bond, something like this. So this is one of the example. So now let us see another example. So maybe I will go with nitrogen molecule. So then later we will see actually oxygen and CO molecule. So nitrogen formation case. So in case of nitrogen molecule, we have a 2 nitrogen atoms. Nitrogen atom. What is the electronic configuration of nitrogen atom? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So in this case, we have a 2s orbitals as well as 2p orbitals also. In the case of H2 molecule, we have only 1s orbitals only. But once we go to the next molecules, so we have 2s orbitals as well as 2p orbitals also. So what is this meaning? So this 1s orbital actually having 2 electrons like this. 1s, even 2s also having 2 electrons like this, and we have 3 2p orbitals. 1, 2, 3. So like this, px, py and pz. So each p orbital actually having one electron like this. So if we, but we have 3 different types of orbitals. In this case, let us say x-axis, this is actually px. If this px combines with another px, so this particular linear combination produces sigma type of bond. Sigma type of bond. But in this case, what about py orbital? Py orbital actually available in this manner. Whenever this px, ps or pz, pz, just fix one of the axis for the bonding axis. So in this case, I am saying actually x axis. We can also use z axis also, or z. So maybe let us assume this is actually z axis. That is more convenient. So this is actually z axis. That means this is actually pz, and this is z axis, and this is actually pz, and let us say this is actually py. Py like this. So whenever this pz orbital combines another pz orbital, so this particular linear combination, so side to side overlap like this, so produces a sigma type of molecular orbital or antibonding molecular orbital. But these actually called side overlap. So these two py orbitals actually overlapping like this, side by side manner. So this particular linear combination actually produces pi type of molecular orbitals. So like this, whenever p orbitals involved, so we have actually sigma bonding molecular orbitals or pi bonding molecular orbitals. So depending on the orientation of the p, x, y orbitals. So if we fix the z axis for the bonding axis, if we fix the z axis as the bonding axis, always pz combination produces sigma bonding. The other two combinations like py combination or px combination produces pi type of molecular orbitals. Like this, whenever 2p orbitals involved, there is a formation of sigma orbitals as well as pi orbitals. So that also you have to consider. So in case of H2 molecule, N2 molecule, we have a nitrogen, that is actually 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So like this, we have 2 nitrogen atoms. So first I'm trying to show you actually this is 1s and these are also 1s of the both nitrogen atoms. Nitrogen 1s and these are also nitrogen 1s. Okay. So this 1s orbital combines with another 1s orbital because both are actually having same amount of energy. So whenever if you want to do linear combination, we have to match the energies as well as symmetries. So generally 1s atomic orbitals combines with another 1s atomic orbitals, and 2s atomic orbitals actually combines with another 2s atomic orbitals, and 2p orbitals actually combines with another 2p atomic orbitals because both are actually having same amount of energy. So like this, in the case of nitrogen molecule, nitrogen 1s atomic orbitals combines with another nitrogen 1s orbital in this manner, and due to this combination there is a formation of sigma 1s and sigma star 1s like this. Due to 1s linear combination there is a formation of like this, and we know that this 1s orbital contains 2 electrons. First nitrogen 1s orbital contains 2 electrons like this, and this also contains 2 electrons like this. So now this total we have 4 number of electrons. These 4 electrons actually occupying this bonding as well as anti-bonding orbitals in this manner. So first 2 electrons goes to the bonding, and the second 2 electrons actually goes to the anti-bonding orbitals in this manner. Okay. So after 1s we have a 2s actually. Now 2s atomic orbital combined with another 2s atomic orbital. Let us say this is the 2s and this is actually another 2s. So this is 2s and this is actually 2s of nitrogen atom. Okay. So this particular combination actually produces sigma 2s and sigma star 2s like this. Like this. So even this 2s atomic orbitals also contain 2 electrons like this. So here we have a 2 electrons and here also we have a 2 electrons like this. Now these 4 electrons now enters into the sigma 2s level and sigma star 2s level in this manner. 2 electrons like this and 2 electrons like this. So like this 4 electrons occupied by 2s sigma 2s sigma star 2s manner. But above after this we have a 2p orbitals. After this we have a 2p orbitals. So then that is actually very important in this case. So for understanding the proper linear combination of 2p in both the cases, I want to represent by using MO diagram of by using these two only. Just I am leaving this 1s part because this is common to all the molecules, because these two are actually lower energy orbitals. Always there is a formation sigma 1s and sigma star 1s only. So I want to skip this part and I want to try to write combinedly sigma 2s and sigma 2s 2p combinations in order to understand proper linear combination process in this particular molecule. Okay. Now we are actually talking about the nitrogen molecule MO energy level diagram. So nitrogen actually having 1s2, 2s2, 2p3 electronic configuration like this. So this part already we know that. So this particular linear combination produces corresponding sigma 1s and sigma star 1s. Okay. So now we will see this is the outer shell. So I want to see the MO level diagram of this particular part. So in this case, so this is actually sigma 2s, 2s atomic orbital of one nitrogen, and these three are actually 2p orbitals of first nitrogen atom. So this 2s contains 2 electrons like this, and an electron available in this case like this, one side. So this first nitrogen atom. Now coming to the second one, we have another nitrogen also. So this is also 2s orbital of nitrogen, and these three actually 2p orbitals of second nitrogen atom. Here also we have a 2 electrons like this, 1, 2, 3 like this. Okay. So now how this linear combination possible? So as we said, 2s can combine with another 2s orbital. There is a formation of sigma 2s and sigma star 2s like this. So this is fine. Now coming to the second level. So among these 3 p orbitals, one is actually px, py, pz. Let us say this is pz, py, and this is actually px in this manner. So among these three particular these 3 p orbitals, one of the linear combination, for example, let us say z axis is actually bonding axis. If z axis is the bonding axis, pz linear combination produces sigma 2p orbital, and other two cases there is a formation of pi 2p orbitals. Now the question is, so among sigma 2p and pi 2p, which one actually having lower energy? For example, in this case, if pz combines with another pz, there is formation of sigma 2pz. Okay, if we consider z axis as the bonding axis, if we consider z axis as the bonding axis in this manner. At the same time, the corresponding py combinations or px combinations produces pi 2py, pi 2px like this. So this is the situation. That means we have a two types of molecular orbital formation. One is actually sigma type and other actually pi type molecular orbital formation. Among these two, which orbital actually having lower energy? That is the question. So generally we will say that sigma is the most suitable, sigma is the most stable one, sigma bond formation actually most stable one when compared to pi bond formation. Always we think that, so sigma 2p, sigma actually having lower energy when compared to pi level. Sigma actually having lower energy when compared to pi level, like this. Always we assume that, so we will say that sigma is the lowest one because there is sigma bond formation. So that means according to that knowledge, so what is the energy order? Sigma 2px first, sigma 2pz first, and then pi 2py or pi 2px. So like this is the energy level and this is the energy level. So first we have to write the sigma 2pz, then we have to go for the pi 2py, pi 2px like that according to our knowledge. But in this case what will happen? So in this case what will happen? So in case of nitrogen atom, pi 2p orbitals actually having lower energy. Let us say pi 2px and pi 2py. So these two orbitals actually having lower energy. After that, sigma 2pz is there. Sigma orbital actually having next level energy. So this is the energy order. So why it is like this, that we will see later. So in this case, actually we are expecting in the reverse manner, because the pz combination produces sigma type of bonding orbital, and other combinations like py combination or px combination. So px combination always produces pi type of orbitals, pi type of molecular orbitals. Among sigma and pi, sigma orbitals generally having lower energy when compared to pi orbitals. But in this case, if you see that, so pi orbitals actually having lower energy when compared to sigma orbital. So that is because of the XP mixing concept in this particular molecule. And so based in a similar manner, these are actually bonding orbitals, and we will get the corresponding anti-bonding orbitals like this. First, pi star 2px, this is pi star 2py, and finally we have a sigma star 2pz like this. Like this. So this energy order actually very important. So this energy order actually very, very important in the case of nitrogen molecule. So in general, sigma actually having lower energy when compared to pi, but in this case pi orbitals actually having lower energy when compared to sigma orbital. So that is mainly because of the sp mixing possible in the case of nitrogen molecule. So what is sp mixing, and that we will see in the next slide. So again I am trying to represent one more time the same thing for better understanding. So what we are doing actually, first we are actually writing 2s, and this is actually 2s of nitrogen atoms, nitrogen. So each atomic orbital is actually having 2 electrons like this. This particular linear combination produces sigma 2s and sigma star 2s like this. And 2 electrons available here, the remaining 2 electrons goes to the like this. So above this we have a p orbitals. So these are 3 p orbitals of the 2p of nitrogen, and these are also 2p orbitals of the another nitrogen atom, and each p orbital contains one atom like this. Each p orbital contains one atom like this. Let us say this is actually pz, py, px, pz, py, px like this. So in this case I am assuming that z axis actually bonding axis. This is a y and this is actually x. So I am assuming z axis actually bonding axis. Therefore the pz combination actually produces sigma pz orbital. The pz combination actually produces sigma pz orbital, and other 2 orbitals px and py, px and py. So these combination produces pi type of molecular orbitals. But the question actually, so here we have a sigma 2pz formation, and there is a formation of pi 2py and pi 2px also. So among these orbitals, which one actually having lower energy? Normally in all the cases we assume that sigma actually more stable one when compared to pi molecular orbital. Therefore always sigma actually the lowest one. But in this case, if you see the energy order, first there is a formation of pi 2p x and pi 2p y like this. First there is a formation of pi orbitals, then there is a sigma 2pz. So energy actually reversed in this case, and these are the corresponding anti-bonding orbitals, pi star 2px, pi star 2py, and this is sigma star 2pz. So this is the energy level diagram of N2 molecule. Like this. So now here we have a 3 electrons and here we have a 3 electrons. So first these are lower energy orbitals 1, 2, let us say maybe yellow color, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like this 6 electrons are actually occupying only bonding orbitals. These are actually bonding molecular orbitals, and these are actually anti-bonding molecular orbitals. So all the electrons actually occupying only bonding molecular orbitals only. So like this. So like this we have to construct the N2 energy level diagram of N2 molecule. But here we have observed actually there is a change of energy order in this manner. So this is mainly because of the sp mixing. XP mixing possible in the case of nitrogen molecule. So that we will see in the next slide. But from this diagram, Now tell me what is the nature of the N2 molecule, whether that is a paramagnetic molecule or diamagnetic molecule. If you see all the molecular orbitals from 1s to 2s to 2p, all the electrons actually, we have only paired electrons only. We don't have any unpaired electrons from this diagram. So these are actually paired electrons, these are also paired electrons, and these three pairs are actually paired electrons only. We don't have any unpaired electrons anywhere. So that means N2 molecule actually diamagnetic in nature. Like this, the nature of the N2 molecule can be predicted by using this diagram. Now what is the bond strength of the N2 molecule? Bond strength. So how to calculate bond strength? Depending on the bond order value. So what is the bond order value? Bond order is equal to half into the number of electrons available in bonding molecular orbitals. So there are two kind of things. One thing actually we have to calculate all the bonding electrons available from the 1s, 2s, 2p, that is one thing, or we can also calculate from the outer orbitals also. In this case 2p is the highest level. So from this 2p level also we can able to calculate the bond order value. So if we consider only 2p level, so in this case how many bonding electrons are available? In the case of only 2p, so how many bonding electrons are available? Total 6 electrons are available. So 6 minus how many electrons are available in the anti-bonding level? 0. So 0. So therefore this is actually 6 by 2, that means 3. So bond order value 3 means in case of N2 molecule, between the two nitrogen atom there is a sigma bond, triple bond like this. Among these one of the bond actually sigma, other two actually pi bonds like this. So like this, the bond strength can be calculated by using M1 energy level diagram in this manner. Okay, so this is the situation in the case of N2 molecule. But in the N2 molecule, we observed that there is a change of order between the sigma and pi level because of the sp mixing kind of concept. So now we will see what is this sp mixing kind of concept. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine. You can also use boron also. So what is the boron electronic configuration? Outermost configuration 2s2, 2p1. Carbon 2s2, 2p2. Nitrogen 2s2, 2p3. Oxygen 2s2, 2p4. Fluorine 2s2, 2p5. So if you see this electronic configuration, in all the cases 2s orbitals contains same number of electrons. Yes or no? Constantly 2s orbital always contains 2 electrons only. But if you see the electrons available in p orbitals, so in case of boron 1, carbon 2, nitrogen 3, oxygen 4, and fluorine 5. So like this, number of electrons are actually increasing from boron to fluorine in this manner. Okay, so but in this case up to here, so in the case of nitrogen, each p orbital actually contains 1 electron in this manner. So that means it is little bit more stable configuration. So later on there is a pairing of electrons also possible. So but among these elements always we will observe sp mixing concept. Whenever these atoms undergoes forming corresponding diatomic molecules like B2 or C2 or N2 kind of molecules, always we will observe sp mixing concept in those cases. But in these cases, in case of O2 or in case of F2, there is no such kind of sp mixing concept. No sp mixing in the case of O2 and fluorine. But before that, either boron or carbon or nitrogen undergoing forming corresponding diatomic molecules in this manner, always there is a sp mixing concept. So that is mainly because of the in all these cases we have a partially filled configurations only. We have less number of electrons. So if you see the energy of the 2s level and 2p level, both are actually very close to each other. But in this case we have more number of electrons. So in this case there is a more number of electrons. 4 electrons are available, 5 electrons are available. So that means because of the more number of electrons, there's some kind of repulsions between the 2s electrons, 2p electrons, and due to the repulsions, there's a slight energy gap between like this. The energy gap between the 2s and 2p increases in the case of oxygen and fluorine case. But in the case of boron, carbon, nitrogen, due to the availability of less number of electrons, this 2s energy very close to the 2p. This 2s energy actually very close to the 2p. So, but here there is some, we have some energy gap between the 2s orbitals and 2p orbitals. So, due to this close energy between them, always in these three cases XP mixing actually possible. So, whenever SP mixing is there, so due to the SP mixing concept, the sigma 2pz orbitals increases and pi 2p orbitals actually decreases. But in this case, due to sufficient energy gap between them, 2s and 2p, they cannot mix each other. They cannot mix each other in this case. Therefore, in the case of O2 molecule or F2 molecule, there is no question of SP mixing kind of concept. So, in this case, we will see different types of diagram, but in these three cases, we have a different type of MO energy level diagram. So, we have already seen actually N2 formation, and I request you to maybe then while coming to next class, so try to construct the B2 M1 energy level diagram and C2 M1 energy level diagram by the same concept how we did in the case of nitrogen molecule. So, this is our actually assignment case. So, this is our assignment. For the next class, please try to show me the formation of B2, formation of C2 by using the same concept. But in both the cases, there is a SP mixing concept that we have to follow. But in the other two cases, there is no SP mixing because between the 2s orbitals and 2p orbitals, there is some energy gap is there because of the more repulsions between them. More repulsions between the 2s electrons and 2p electrons, 2s electrons, 2p electrons. But in the case we have less number, only 1 electron or 2 electrons or maximum 3 electrons. So, that means in this case we have less repulsions. Due to less repulsions, these two, the energy both 2s, 2p actually very close to each other. So, in this case s orbitals can mix with p orbitals, but in this case that is actually not possible. So, in the case of O2 or F2 case, there is no sp mixing kind of concept. Okay. So, like this we can able to explain the formation of various diatomic molecules by using MO theory. And in the next class, maybe we will see formation of O2 and formation of CO molecules. Okay. So, I am stopping here. So, I will continue the next session. So, in the next session, I am going to show you the how to construct the MO energy level diagram of O2 molecule and MO energy level diagram of CO molecule. And later, we will discuss about the construction of MO energy level diagram of octahedral metal complexes also. But for the next class, please try to show me formation of B2 molecule, formation of C2 molecule by using MO theory like this. Okay. So, if you have any doubts, please contact me through my email ID or mobile number. So, thank you one and all.